This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Hi guys, it's Josh at the Pickle Jar, and today we're going to be taking a look at some cheap alternative paints and seeing if they're any good. I'll catch you after this. The other day I was out shopping and I came across a couple of things that I found pretty interesting, and I thought that you guys might enjoy seeing them too. Now, the first of which was a set of acrylic paints. Comes with 6 paints, paintbrush, a few other bits and pieces, and the second thing was a set of 8 acrylic metallic paints. Now, both of these were very cheap. One was from Aldi and one was from The Works, both cheap shops over here in the UK. And I know what you're thinking, they can't be any good. But recently I started using oil paints, and the paints that I was using for that were a cheap set. They were £3 for a set of 12, and they've been absolutely fantastic. So I was wondering, will these acrylic paints do the job of the branded stuff that we all know and love? Are they any good? Only one way to find out. Let's put them to the test. So this is the first set of paints we're going to be testing out today. As you can see, it's a very cheap set, a very basic starter set. You get 6 different tubes of paints. You can mix other colours from these if you need to, but you're going to need to know what you're doing a little bit with that. You get a few other bits and pieces like a rubber and a pencil sharpener and a pencil. Not really sure how much use they're going to be. This entire set cost me £5. Now, I've got a couple of spare models lying around that I use for testing colour schemes and paints and stuff. A Stormcast and a Nighthaunt. So I'm going to take those outside, spray them with the Colourforge primers. I'm going to do one in white and one in black. I absolutely love these primers. They're absolutely perfect for getting models sprayed up quickly when I can't be bothered to get the airbrush out. While I get them sprayed up outside, why don't I tell you about this week's sponsor, which is Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. If you've got a hobby or you're wanting to start something new and learn something, then there is guaranteed to be a class for you. Since signing up, I've been taking a look through a lot of the editing classes on here, and by far my favourite so far is the visual effects class from Motion Design A. I've been wanting to learn how to do rotoscoping and add some new visual interest to the videos that I do both here and at work, and this course has been absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to put what I've learned to use in some upcoming projects. If you wanted to learn a brand new skill or improve one that you already have, the first 1,000 people to use my join code or link down below in the description will get their first 1 month free. Thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I absolutely love this platform and I cannot wait to dive into some more classes. Now, back to the video. So now that the models are all primed and ready to go, it's time to put this kit to use and see how good it is. And at first I thought, oh, this is really cool. It comes with a little paint pad like you get from Games Workshop. So I started unloading the paints onto there. I went with a blue, a yellow and a green because I wanted to try and go for a bit of a ghostly green look on the Nighthaunt. I added a bit of white as well so I could brighten them up. Now I have to say, I was actually pretty impressed with the brush that came with this kit. For a cheap synthetic, it keeps its tip really well, and I've used it a few times since recording this video. The paints themselves though, initial impressions wasn't great. These were really struggling to cover over. I mixed them with water, I mixed them with medium, I had the same result with both. I'm not really sure what the issue is. And then I realised that the paint pad that I thought was a paint pad wasn't a paint pad. It was something to paint on, as in to paint pictures on. It should have been a bit of a hint because this kit comes with an actual palette, so why I thought that was a palette, I've no idea. Once I'd moved all the paints into the actual palette, I carried on painting and I put 3 and 4 coats on this of the same green and it's still patchy as hell. I don't know if it's to do with the amount of pigment that's in the paint or if it's just that they are really not designed for miniatures. I've no idea, I'm not a chemist, but I was pretty disappointed with these paints, although they only cost me a £5, so I can't really complain. So that's the first set of paints tested, and I think it's pretty safe to say that they are not really any good for what we do. They really struggle to cover over the primer. I did try them over a darker primer on a separate piece. I didn't film, unfortunately, and they struggle just as much over that, so that is a write-off. Got a nice brush though. I mean, £5 for a cheap brush, but it's got a nice tip on it. It'll do me for a few sessions. Guess I've got a pencil sharpener as well. Can't really complain. Let's move on to the metallics then, shall we? Now, I was holding out quite a lot of hope for these ones because these are labelled as premium artist paints, so you know they've got to be good, right? When I first squeezed them out of the tube, they came out really thick and gloopy, exactly the same as the other acrylic paints. I thinned it with water and I tried it with medium as well, and it was both pretty much the same as last time. Once I started putting it on the models, it was really apparent that it was a very, very poor covering paint. However, once I'd layered this up, or 2 or 3 layers, fair enough, you could still see the black base coat coming through on most of the parts. But I think because of the metallic flakes in the paint, it tricks your eye and it just gives off a nice reflective surface. I also didn't really notice it looking too flaky and bitty like some metallic paints get. Now, I'm absolutely not going to be replacing my regular Pro Acryl metallics with these, but these weren't as bad as the first set of paints, so something to bear in mind, maybe for terrain. So at first with the metallics, I thought that they were going to be just as bad from initial layers that I put down. They seemed to really struggle to cover, seemed to be very streaky, they were very gloopy coming out of the tube. I guess again, they are designed for a different medium. However, if you thin these down a little bit with water, and if you are patient and you put a few layers on, they're not actually that bad. They're by no means on par with proper miniature paints that we all know and love. But in a pinch, these aren't too bad. If you're doing stuff like terrain and things like that, these might be a good alternative to paying out more money on expensive paints. Am I going to use them myself in the future? Probably not, but I've tested them. I was really impressed with the silver on the shield especially. The gold did layer up all right, and they weren't too bad. They weren't too bad. So that is the end of the testing, and what have I learnt? I have learnt that even though miniature paint costs that little bit more, it is well worth it for the convenience of not having to layer up 1,000 layers to get one covering. Miniature paint is designed for just that. It is designed for miniatures. The acrylic paint that I've been testing here in today's video is clearly not designed for that. I tried thinning it with water, I've tried thinning it with medium. It didn't work as I wanted it to. The metallic wasn't too bad, but still a lot more work and effort than you need to go through when there are good metallic paints out there already that are designed for miniature painting. It's well worth testing these sorts of things. If you see something out that's cheap to pick up, try it out, give it a go. You might come across something that's absolutely amazing, like I did with the oil paints. You might also do what I've done here and pay £10 for a sharpener and a paintbrush. But I've tested them out and now I know for future, and now you guys know that these paints in particular, maybe avoid them. But don't ever stop experimenting with stuff that you can find on the cheap, because sometimes you'll come a cropper and have a good one. So there you go guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like down below, and if you're brand new, make sure to hit that subscribe button at the same time. While you're down there, make sure to check out the links for this video's sponsor, Skillshare. The links are in the description and in the pinned comment, and there's also all our affiliate links in the description as well if you want to help support the channel. I want to say a massive thank you to all our current channel members. You guys are absolutely amazing, and you are continuing to help the channel do what we do and continue to enjoy it at the same time, so thank you very, very much. That's going to be it from me. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, enjoy your hobby.